And I told our team afterwards, it's always hard when it's the last game. And no one ever thinks until the last game it's going to be the last game. So we're very disappointed and yet immensely proud of the season that we've had and the program that that these young men have helped build and grow. And I do think that the best will be yet to come. And yet, today was difficult when it ended. We got beat by a very good team who has been playing very, very good basketball. That doesn't make it any easier on us coming up here first. But if you look at these three and the other 7 in the locker room, they've given a lot to San Diego State in our program. And I said to them, I thank you for that. And we don't forget.
Open it up to questions for the student athletes. Fourth row.
Tim Sullivan, San Diego Union Tribune. Jamal, the last play, right before the buzzer, you put one up off the glass and slammed it home. Was that kind of a preview of coming attractions, and are you already thinking ahead?
What?
The last play, you put the ball off the glass, came in and slammed it in, and I was wondering if that was kind of a preview of coming attractions, of what, are you thinking ahead to next year already?
Yeah, I mean, we lost to a good team, and it was just do something in the last play.
Follow up.
For Chase, you had a hot hand there in the second half and seemed to be keeping the game close. Was there a sense that you guys were too reliant on outside shooting tonight?
I wouldn't say it was a sense we was too reliant on it. I mean, they were giving us great shots, and when Coach said you got a good shot, shoot it. And that's what we did. Some didn't fall, but some did. We tried to get to the hole like Jamal does all the time to draw some fouls, got a couple of fouls, and we knocked down some shots, but it just wasn't enough.
It's for maybe Jamal or Jay, for anybody. Could you talk about the size difference and I mean, they went inside early and often, and how hard it was to defend guys like that? You haven't faced anything like that all season.
They were big, but like I said before, I'm not scared of no man, and I'm sure my teammates is not scared to go against somebody and no man. And they had to guard us on the other end, which they did, but they had the upper hand. They won, but we're looking forward to coming back next year and getting ready. That we have to give them their credit. They did their job and they won.
The same what Jamal said. I mean, they attacked us down low early. I mean, we know coming in the game that's what they were going to do against our small lineup. And hey, man, when it was rolling, they kept on feeding it in. We just couldn't get a stop when we needed the most. But like Jamal said, we're looking forward next year, and just can't wait.
On the aisle here.
Jay Parrish, North County Times. Chase, is this one tougher or last year's Sweet 16? Which one stings the most?
It was different kind of feelings. I mean, that last year's team, we were close group, and knowing that you have four of your closest friends leaving, not coming back next year, that was hard to bear. And us getting far like that, and this year's group is different. It's different feelings, but the same feeling. I mean, nobody likes to lose, and still it's hurt. It hurts, but just can't dwell on it. I mean, life goes on, but just gotta move on.
James, what were you seeing out there tonight? You seemed like you got in a rhythm for a minute and then it kind of went away. How were you feeling out there shooting the ball?
I felt good. We played our game. Unfortunately tonight it wasn't good enough. That's pretty much it.
Jamal, I know you're disappointed, but is it possible at all to look at the big picture of what you guys have accomplished this season
Yes, I'm very disappointed. A lot of you guys out there thought that it was a rebuilding year, as y'all always mention, but it never was a rebuilding year to us. So I'm glad what we accomplished, but I could have seen us going farther. That's why I'm disappointed. But my teammates, we all play good. We all play well, and we just got to get ready for next year. We got to remember what just happened now, but we got to move on.
The second row here.
Yeah, Sammy Batten for the Fayetteville Observer. Were you guys surprised at all at number one how Leslie's been their big scorer, but he seemed to be stepping out and taking shots that really were unusual for him?
We're not surprised. I mean, it's D1 basketball, NCAA tournament. He was hitting his mid-range shot, wedging it down low, getting easy buckets. And he just came to play, and that's what good players do on the biggest stage, to come to play.
Other questions for the student athletes? Okay, thank you guys. We'll now open the floor for questions for Coach Fisher.
Steve, you obviously knew there were inside power that you were going to have to contend with. Was it more difficult than you anticipated, and anything that you tried that you might have wished to go to earlier?
It's one thing to be big. It's another thing to be big and good. And they're big and good. Obviously, Richard Howe was fantastic for them out of the gate. He had about every basket that they had, either scored it or had to skip across to Brown early for a three. He was a load, and our thought was we wanted to get down and double to take it out of his hands. We weren't as good as we were in practice, doubling our scout team, but that's because of who we played. We were aware that they were going to pound that ball in early and often. They did it, and we weren't quite capable of repelling them, and we fought hard. We had chances. They're scoring inside, and we had some attack off the bounce, but they knew what they wanted to do, and they did it, and we had a hard time with their size. It's obvious that we did. I thought we guarded them pretty good, but they still scored.
Kind of a more general question along the same theme. Given the size issue that you've had all year, what do you make of how far you were able to go and how much you were able to overcome that?
I said recently that if we could play Iowa girls basketball from way back and play one group at one end and a bigger group defensively at the other end, we'd be better. But they won't let you do that. They knew we were small, so we thought, well, maybe we can have Jamal put them a little bit off balance with their bigs. But they were effective. When we went to the rim, they didn't make anything easy. They had big, long arms coming over to take away what looked to be a really good shot and turn it into a hard shot. I'm very, very appreciative of our team this year. And I said this before, rarely are you flying in under the radar where they don't think you're going to be very good, and you supersede that. Usually expectations are higher than they need to be. Our kids were a proud group that felt they could be good, and yet we had a lot of moving parts to replace. And I thought they did an admirable job from game one to now of doing that. So yes, to win 26 games and be co-champs in our league, that's a really good accomplishment. First time ever as an at-large team in the NCAA, and yet we're going home, and that's what hurts for all of us. Given all what you said and I've said, we thought we could come in here and win, but we didn't.
Front.
Yes. Steve, you guys made runs at about the 9-minute mark of both halves, and Mark called timeouts there. Coming out of those timeouts, did you sense any defensive adjustments they made against y'all coming out of both those timeouts?
I didn't. There may have been, but I didn't. I know one time, I don't know if it was after a timeout or not, they went to a zone, and I think we got a basket out of it, and then they went out of the zone. I think you do that to try to stem the flow that's going on the floor, make you sit for 2 minutes and 15 seconds, and at least take a deep breath. But they're well coached. They're playing with a togetherness that you have to win, and they're a good team.
In the back.
Coach, could you just talk a little, I mean, obviously, like you said, the size is a problem, but having never faced it this year, it's one thing to face a scout team, but it's another to have actual game speed against that. How much did that affect you not having a double team a post in live game action?
Mark, I'm not sure whether it did or not, how much that piece affected us. You're right, we did not do a whole lot of post doubling this year, even with a small group out there. I think more of what happened in this game should go to what North Carolina State did as opposed to what we didn't do. I thought even when we doubled, we had some really good doubles. And they'd kick it out, go back in, skip it across, and before we could move and reestablish, they were in for a quick angle, or they had a good shot coming out of it. And I made this comment early on in the game. Hal was he was an All-American the way he played with the pace that he played with, and X came to double and he made a bullet perfect pass for the three. They're good. So I think it was more that than we haven't done it a lot. I think